In 2023, voluntary resignations at South Korea's top 10 conglomerates reached their highest rate in over a decade. 1 in every 5 new hires at a major Korean tech firm left within 2 years. That is not attrition. That is a signal. These are not underperformers slipping out quietly. These are engineers, product managers, and data scientists. People who pass some of the most competitive hiring processes in Asia, choosing to walk away. The question is not whether this is happening. The question is why someone who spent years fighting to get inside one of these companies decides one morning that leaving is the better bet. The data builds a clear picture. According to Statistics Korea, the average job tenure at large Korean corporations fell to approximately 5.4 years by 2022, down from nearly 8 years a decade earlier. A survey by the job platform Saraman found that roughly 62% of Korean tech workers in their 20s and 30s said they were actively considering leaving their current employer within the next year. Meanwhile, Korea's startup ecosystem registered a record number of new tech ventures in 2022, according to the Korea Venture Business Association, meaning there is somewhere credible to go. Wages at mid-sized tech firms and well-funded startups have risen sharply, narrowing the compensation gap that once made the chaebols untouchable. And according to the OECD, South Korean workers already log among the longest average annual hours of any developed nation, nearly 1,900 hours per year, which means the hours are long and the loyalty is fraying at exactly the same time. To understand the mechanism, you have to understand what Korean tech giants offered and what they quietly withheld. For decades, Samsung, SK Hynix, Kakao, and Naver operated on a model sometimes called the tournament system, a rigid hierarchy where the reward was deferred, seniority-based and conditional on loyalty measured in years. A talented 26-year-old engineer would be outranked and out-earned by a 38-year-old manager almost regardless of output. Promotions followed a predetermined schedule. Decisions flowed downward. Individual product ownership was rare. Then the global tech industry offered a different contract. Korean developers watched peers in the United States, and increasingly in Korean startups receiving stock options, shipping products with their names attached, and being promoted on merit inside 3 years. COVID accelerated the comparison because remote work made the cultural gap visible on video calls. The tournament model depends on the belief that patience will be rewarded. Once engineers began calculating whether that reward would actually materialize, many concluded it would not arrive in time. The costs are landing on both sides. For companies like Samsung and Naver, losing mid-career engineers, especially those in semiconductor design, AI research, and platform architecture, creates institutional knowledge gaps that are expensive and slow to fill. A 2023 report by the Korea Economic Research Institute estimated that replacing a single skilled tech worker costs a firm between 1.5 and 2 times that worker's annual salary when you account for recruiting, onboarding, and productivity loss. At the national level, South Korea's government has flagged a widening technology talent shortage in strategic sectors, with the Ministry of Science and ICT projecting a shortfall of over 40,000 ICT specialists by 2026. For the workers themselves, the exit is not costless either. Leaving a chaebol means forfeiting pension contributions, housing loan subsidies, and the social credential that still carries real weight in Korean society. The calculation is real, and it is close. What Korea is experiencing is not uniquely Korean. It is the global renegotiation of what a career is supposed to deliver, arriving faster in a country where the old contract was especially rigid and especially rewarded. Every industrial economy that built its prosperity on large hierarchical institutions faces some version of this pressure. The specific Korean variables, the seniority system, the chaebol dominance, the cultural weight of the prestigious employer, simply made the tension more visible and the break more dramatic when it came. The lesson for any organization watching from outside Korea is uncomfortable but clear. Talent retention is no longer a compensation problem. It is a structure problem, and structure is much harder to change than a salary. The question Korea's tech giants now face is whether they can redesign something that took 70 years to build before the people who know how to build the next thing decide they would rather build it somewhere else.